Catherine Kuchevsky, and today I'll be talking about this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, the counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Everyone wants to be that person that is just working towards their goals and completely not affected by what anyone thinks. Well, most of us aren't those people, unfortunately, and a lot of people also have this belief that they should be happy all the time. There's this wave of happiness research and people talking about happiness as if we should just be happy all the time. Social media also gives this false lens of these amazing lives of everybody, when in fact, negative emotions and negative experiences, all these things, they are a normal and necessary part of the human existence. Well, today I'll talk about some key takeaways that I found in this book that will maybe change the way you think about failure and success. The first key takeaway that I got from this book is the do something principle. If you don't know what you're doing or which direction to go in, the simple act of working on it will bring you more ideas on how to improve. As you work on it, you get more feedback and more ideas. It's the do something principle. This channel is such a great example of that because I spent so much time writing it out on paper, not knowing what to do, what direction to go, but I just kept working it out on paper, and it never got me anywhere. I spent way too much doing that. The only time that I actually moved forward was when I started experimenting with videos, started posting them, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't. Action was the only way that actually moved me forward and not thinking about it forever and ever. Action is not the effect of motivation, it's actually the cause of it. Everyone thinks that it is inspiration, then motivation, then action, when in fact, it's actually action gives you the inspiration and ideas, which give you the motivation to keep taking more action. And when you start seeing things getting done and moving forward, then that keeps motivating you to work on that thing that you want to work on. So the principle is do something, anything, start simple, take the smallest little step and see where it goes, and then see where it goes. And even if you have failure, you have to keep going because every little failure leads to that success, because you know right away by taking action what works, what doesn't work, and then you take those pieces that work and keep building and building and building on them. Action is key, do something. The second key takeaway I got from this book is the value of suffering. If you have better values, you will have a better life. Our values underlie everything we are and do. They determine the nature of our problems, which determines the quality of our lives. Some people believe that once they have a lot of money, they'll be less miserable. That money is like the answer to their problems. But really, it might be that their values are different, and not the fact that they're not driving a Bentley. If something is bugging you, it could be as simple as reframing it. Maybe it seems like a failure to you, but you can ask yourself, well, why does that seem like a failure? Maybe in reframing it, you can think about it in a different way. So to give an example, when I was 22 or something around there, I moved to Vancouver to try and get a job at the Vancouver Aquarium. I was a marine/wildlife biologist, and it was my dream to work there. I mean, it's a world-renowned aquarium. It looks very excited. So I went there and I volunteered, and eventually a posting came up that was perfect for me. It was like a French program coordinator. I spoke French, and I had the necessary background and degrees. And it came down to me and this other girl. And the other girl got it. And I was devastated. I mean, I felt like a total failure. That was the reason that I had moved there. But in reality, it led me down a completely different path. I took some time to ask myself, what did I really want in life? And realize that I actually didn't want to be a biologist for the long term. it would have meant going back and doing a PhD, and I looked at people who had those kind of jobs and it wasn't really interesting to me. So it led me back to school, but in a different direction, which was design, and led me back to Montreal, and I'm much more happier for it. So in the end, it might have felt like a failure at the time, but once I reframed it, I realized I saved myself a lot of years. Problems are inevitable, but the meaning we give them is not. So we can control the meaning of our problems based on what we think about them. Change how you see your problems, and they will change how you think about failure and success. A lot of people think, if I get X, then I will be happy. In reality, if you have poor values, then you will care about the wrong things, which will make you feel like a failure, when in fact, it's the values that should change. The third big takeaway that I got from this book is that we individually are responsible for everything that happens in our life, not external circumstances. People don't want to take responsibility because they think that taking responsibility means they're at fault. But that is simply not true. So if you're going around and let's say your boss steals your idea at work, take responsibility. The weather is bad, so you didn't train, take responsibility. It doesn't mean it's your fault, it just means take the step to keep moving forward so that you can take charge of your life instead of letting those circumstances dictate your life and your mood and your happiness. So a funny story is that when I was a couple years back, I had terrible knee pain. And I was blaming everything. I was blaming my chair, I was sitting too much at work, or the weather was bad, I was getting too old. When in fact, I finally took responsibility, and then I saw a physiotherapist, and I'm not even kidding, within 3 weeks, the pain completely went away. It was simply a misalignment that I had never taken care of. We choose what to give a fuck about and what we don't. So change is as simple as changing what we give a fuck about. It's a simple concept, but not an easy one to implement. So there you have it, the 3 key takeaways I got from reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. It is a great book. I highly recommend it. There's lots of other great takeaways in this book. If you'd like to read it, I'll leave a link down below. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. The key to being happier is to try and stop being blah blah blah. The second key takeaway that I got from this book is the value of suffering. Better if you blah blah blah. Ah. Oh, did you hear that? All right.